What if you could see a roadmap for the next 25 years of crypto? I'm not talking about just the price, but the entire technological journey. Well, today we're going to unpack a pretty bold prediction that charts the course for the whole market, all the way to the year 2051.
So this is the big one, right? The question that's on every single investor's mind. What is all this stuff actually going to be worth in a quarter of a century? Are we looking at a future of, digital gold, or are we just looking at digital dust? The answer, well, it might not be what you think.
Okay, so let's just start with a dose of reality here. Predicting an exact dollar value for something in 2051, it's a fool's errand. It's mathematically impossible. The market's just way too chaotic. But, and this is the absolute key, we can anticipate the technological path. We can predict the structural journey of the entire ecosystem. And that's what we're going to focus on today.
So, to even begin to understand the next 25 years, we first have to get a handle on the fundamental laws that govern which networks live and which ones die. These are the rules of survival.
It really all starts with something called Metcalfe's law. Now, this says that a network's value doesn't just grow one by one, it grows exponentially. So think of it this way. If you add one phone to a network that already has 1 million phones, you've just created 1 million new possible connections. This simple principle gives today's dominant networks, your Bitcoins and your Ethereums, this massive, almost insurmountable head start.
And then you've got crypto's unique, almost brutal resilience. In a normal market, a crash means a slow, painful, grinding recovery. But major crypto networks, they experience something totally different. It's like a Zenkai crash. I'm talking they can lose 80, even 90% of their value, looking for all the world like they're headed for total annihilation. But the core code, the infrastructure, it survives. The developers who stick around actually improve it. And when that network comes back, it returns with exponentially greater economic power. It's this wild system where what doesn't kill you literally makes you much, much stronger.
Okay, so based on those rules, here's our 25-year roadmap. It unfolds in 3 really distinct phases. First up, we've got an institutional takeover. Then, a massive technological test called the quantum wall. And finally, a future where crypto just becomes an invisible layer of our financial world. So let's start with that first phase, which is happening between now and about 2035. This is what we're calling the institutional takeover. This is where the crypto market really grows up and consolidates.
During this era, we are going to see a great divergence. Bitcoin will probably shed its crazy volatility and stabilize into something like digital gold, a neutral reserve asset for big institutions and central banks. At the same time, Ethereum and its main competitors will likely become the foundational operating systems for finance, tokenizing everything from the deed to your house to a share in a racehorse. But what about all those thousands of other projects?
Well, the statistical probability is that 99% of today's meme coins and all those projects without real-world utility will fall to zero. And I mean permanently. The future isn't thousands of coins. It's a brutal, brutal consolidation. In this phase, utility and network effects aren't just important, they are literally the only things that matter for survival. Now, for the few that do survive, the next great test is waiting for them. Sometime between 2035 and 2045, they're going to face the single greatest existential threat in their history, the quantum wall. Right, so here's how this cataclysmic event could play out. Step 1, quantum computers finally become powerful enough to break the fundamental encryption, like SHA-256, that secures networks like Bitcoin. To survive this, these networks have to pull off an incredibly high-stakes maneuver, a hard fork. Seriously, think of it as changing the engine of a plane while it's in midair. It is a radical upgrade to a new quantum-resistant code. And any network that can't pull this off perfectly will be hacked into oblivion. They'll just vanish, almost overnight.
The very few networks that survive the quantum wall will then enter the final phase. This is where they become something entirely new, the invisible layer of the global financial system.
Think about it like this. When you send an email, you don't think about the underlying protocol, right? TCP/IP. You just click send. Well, by 2051, transferring value is going to be exactly the same. The word blockchain might become as obscure to the average person as TCP/IP is today. It'll just be the secure, invisible protocol that powers the global movement of money.
So what does this entire 25-year trajectory really tell us? Well, it tells us that the future of crypto is not a Cambrian explosion of thousands of new currencies. It's a story of extreme consolidation. Only 2 or 3 titanic networks that survive every single test will remain.
Which, of course, brings us to the final, lingering question. If you look at the landscape today and you know the immense challenges that lie ahead, which of these networks truly has the resilience, the community, and the technological foresight to survive the quantum wall and become one of tomorrow's invisible titans? Now that's the real question to ponder.